Welcome to the podcast, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business by Coach James Short. This podcast is designed to help you with strategies, insights, and ways to increase sales, build and lead high-performing teams, and ultimately grow your business. Your host, James Short himself, also shares some of his secret sources on how he helps his own clients achieve business growth quickly and easily. James has been coaching those in the real estate and property industry for close to 10 years now, and his clients keep on saying, since working with James, their results have been outstanding, giving them more money, time, and fulfillment. James is offering a free strategy call to those listening to see how he can assist you to take your business to where you want to go. Simply go to jamesshort.com.au/strategy and book in a time today. Now on with the show.
Hi and welcome to another edition of Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short and welcome to another show. We are excited once again to have a special guest with us today. Veronica Morgan. Wow, Good Deed Property Buyers. Wow, she is a mover and shaker within the industry and outside the industry. She's the founder and principal of Good Deeds Property Buyers. She's the co-host of the popular series Location Australia with Bryce Holdaway, and also Relocation Australia on Foxtel's The Lifestyle Channel Australia. You can also tune into Veronica as she co-hosts the property podcast The Elephant in the Room, which investigates who is really in control when you buy property. She's also recently co-founded Home Buyer Academy, which provides online support for first home buyers so they can become into the property ladder without making costly mistakes. We are super excited to have her on the show today. Thank you so much for being with us today. Welcome.
Pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you, James.
Great. All right, let's just check in with and so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you for joining us.
Well, it's my pleasure, James.
Lovely. So you are one of the most renowned property experts out there that I've seen, you know, obviously on TV, off TV, and around the traps. But how did you get involved? How did all the property cycle start with you?
How did it all start? Oh, way back when. My property journey starts and has been peppered with business failures. Okay. So I actually originally, I've had many careers. I'm like a millennial in an older person's body.
Love
okay?
it.
So I've had 6 careers and I finally got into property back in 2000. And the reason I got into property was because I had chased this dream of having a cafe/restaurant. And of course, that's not as lucrative as I may have hoped. And after 2 years of that, I was ready to chuck in the towel and I had to pay back some debts. So I looked at, well, what am I good at? I was actually good at selling because I'd been in recruitment and that sort of sales process is quite similar. But what was I interested in? Well, I was interested in food. So that wasn't paying the bills. But I had developed this interest in property actually whilst I was in hospitality, and mainly because of my customers, really, and the conversations I was having with them. So I developed this interest and I thought, right, well, I've got the sales, background and experience and I understand the process. So let's go and, see if I can apply it to property and make some money. And so that's really why I got into property and I sold for 6 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so go on. Sorry, go on.
I was about to say then the other business failed. So anyway, then I had a daughter, I had a child, I took a year off and I thought I really want to look at this other side of the coin. I'm really interested in helping buyers. I was up for a new challenge anyway. And I do think you do, as a buyer's agent, I engage a lot more critical thinking skills than I did as a selling agent. Whole different skill set. And so I decided to embark on that and I found some people to work with. I contracted to another business for a while. The GFC hit. And they encountered some severe difficulties. Unfortunately, they weren't particularly, put it this way, they did a phoenix and they owed me a lot of money. And so therefore I'm there with a handful of clients who wanted to work with me. And I was faced with, well, what do I want to do here? Well, I have to set up a business. And that was over 10 years ago now.
Wow. Fantastic. So give us a snapshot of where you're at right now and the types of clients that you're helping and working with.
So we help, I'm based in Sydney, so we focus on the 10K radius to the CBD. So that's inner west, eastern suburbs, lower North Shore. And I should sort of make that a little bit rubberier because I do have one of my team that specialises in the upper North Shore as well. So we focus on those areas and we help busy professionals buy their dream home. Or we're also helping, and mostly professionals, buy investment properties that outperform. And when I say outperform, we're very skilled at identifying the types of property that will do better than others in these areas.
Yeah, love it. Fantastic. And so if you look at the journey, I mean, you wouldn't be here today. And I think any business owner has those ups and downs, right? Any like those, the scars and the war wounds to prove their journey. If you look back in your business life cycle, what have been some of those standout challenges that, you know, you've obviously come through the other side, but you look back and go, wow, that was a huge learning point for me in my journey?
Well, obviously having a business, and I'll say my business failed, even though I got out of it earlier than it actually failed. I wasn't forced out of it, but I chose to get out. I could see the writing on the wall. You know, that's a challenging thing to acknowledge. It's a challenging thing to experience as well. And, you know, when I went and worked in real estate sales, I worked for a company called Sarah Lawden Real Estate back in the early 2000s. And there was a boutique agency. And I know that I had a different attitude as an employee than I definitely before having had a business. You know, I didn't have the same attitude. I knew that I had a better attitude than most employees because of that. And I really valued working for someone else. I wasn't always looking at trying to get out to do my own thing and prove myself. You know, I could prove myself within the confines of that, you know, and really leverage off that. So that has been something that I've learned that I honestly wish every single person that I've ever employed had learned, because that's a challenge in this industry, really.
Totally.
Yeah. You know, so, but having that as well, you realize that it's not always up, you know, that things can not work to plan. And so I think that that's something that is always at the back of my mind, that fundamentally responsibility lies with me. There are things that happen in the marketplace and you know, but even then, you know, my ability to anticipate those and actually put in place defenses or strategies or new products or services or et cetera, in order to counteract those sorts of things, that's the sort of thinking, I guess, that the challenges and the failures has led me to be, you know, more focused on.
Yeah, love it. And so if you flip that around, what are some of the things that, if you look back in your journey once again, what are those wins that you're most proud of?
Well, the wins, you know, more recently, I mean, in Sydney, the market fell off a cliff. So I had my absolute best year ever, hands down best year ever, financial year 16, 17, you know, and then the worst year ever straight after it, straight off the back of that. So that's tough, you know, because I geared up as well, you know, and I knew things were going to change, but I had no concept that it was going to be quite so dramatic and sudden and just, yeah, a massive difference. So that was you know, I had to deal with that and make changes and all the rest of it. But in the middle of all that, I've always remained focused. Okay, well, what can I build in this time? You know, this is the time to build. And so I launched the podcast last year, the beginning of, I would say May, actually, we launched in 2018 with Chris Bates, who's my co-host. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of what we've done with that and what I've learned through that. That's been an absolute highlight for me. I'm also really proud that over 60% of my business is repeat and referral. And given that I'm also, particularly in the early days, I was educating people as to what we even do. You know, as a selling agent, 95% of people think that they need an agent to sell their house. Yep. So it's a matter of choosing which one. But when you're dealing with a buyer's agent, everyone thinks they can do this themselves and they think that there's something wrong with them if they have to pay for someone to help them. So you know, that's an overriding, that's quite a common perception. Yep. And there's a bit of shame around it with some people. They don't even want to admit that they use the buyer's agent. So therefore, there goes your referral network. You know, they're not going to tell anybody they used you. It's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Yeah. So, you know, in a business where there's a lot of hurdles in that educational piece to start with, but also just overcoming all those perceptions. You know, more than 60% of my business is referral and repeat, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Right.
That's
huge.
But I tell you the biggest win, I have to say, when one of my team says that they've done something or advised a client, or in some way they've done something that proves that they put that client's needs ahead of their own. Our core values are, care, respect, and integrity. And when I see that and hear that, that to me is the biggest win ever.
That's so good, so good. Which sort of segues into the next question that I want to ask you is around teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've grown an amazing team, like you've just mentioned. You've also seen some colourful teams, I would say, that in the past. What do you feel makes up a winning team in your eyes?
Oh, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not an expert at this. I can tell you, I've had some spectacular fails in this area. Where I'm learning, I guess, in that is that it always starts with me, the business owner. And this is one of my, a personal thing of mine, right? I'm not good at appearing vulnerable, showing my vulnerability, and I'm quite forthright. And most people just think, oh, she just knows what she's doing, and she's gung-ho and all the rest of it. And I'm very good at hiding when I feel vulnerable. And I have to say that as a business owner, one of the most softest parts of myself, if you like, is the team, because so much of what they do, affects me, but also reflects me. Yeah. And so it took me a long, long time, and I'm probably maybe not even 100% there, to realize that, that I can expect more of them. I was too apologetic. I was like, oh, good, people want to work with me. I was like, thank you, and, and to be much clearer in terms of my expectations and demand more. So that's been something so I guess when, what comes down to a high performing team, we all need to be on the same page. We all need to recognize that it's okay to be a bit vulnerable, so that we can learn from each other and help each other out. And we're all moving in the same direction. So that's, I guess it's a more esoteric side of things, but that's very much what I'm focused on at the moment.
I think you hit the nail on the head where it's a continual journey, right? There's no sort of end destination when it comes to these teams, because they're a moving, living, breathing organism. Obviously, you got the team like people, but in that whole process, there's so many different levers, different personalities, characteristics, even yourself, as you said, is that vulnerability. There's a massive component, which I said goes into, I guess, the next thing I want to ask you, and I think you've hit the nail on the head on a number of these aspects of vulnerability, values, in relations to leadership, right? And this is a continual thing, once again, like teams. Is there anything that you feel helps you become a better leader in relations to leading your team, or have you noticed any other characteristics other leaders portray that you go, wow, that's an amazing characteristic?
Yeah, I think with me personally, I actually think that you have to follow your own self-development, your personal development journey. Yep. And, without doing that, like you're sort of pretending, you know what I mean? Like, so the whole imposter syndrome is because I think fundamentally we do pretend it. We sort of fake it till we make it in life,
Yep.
So, and I'm still faking it in some areas, sure. But I highly value truth. Highly value it, and so you've got to be true to yourself, and then you can be true to other people, and it's a bit like the old oxygen mask thing as well. It's so that in so many different ways, showing empathy for other people. You can only truly be empathic for other people if you're empathic for yourself. Yep. And so you've got to give yourself a bit of a break, and so that's taken me a long time because I'm very hard on myself. So I guess my journey is very much that I do have to lead in the sense that I have to be brave enough to tackle these things in my own life before I can expect somebody else to tackle them.
Yeah. Nice. Love it. Obviously you've been around some amazing people throughout the industry. Who have been some of the people that you've looked up, or even outside of the industry that you've looked up to as mentors or role models or people of influence that you've learnt from?
This is a really hard one for me because I've never sought out or had a particular mentor. And in many ways, I always thought well, I don't know what I thought about that. I wasn't sure whether there was no one that I looked up to enough but I thought that's not true, because there's a lot of people I really look up to. But when I think about, if I've ever had mentors, for instance, it's been around specific areas or specific things that I want to learn about, and I'll go and seek out that person who's done that before so that I can learn from that person. The most valuable thing then is really a network of people you trust, so that you can put it out there and ask the question, and then I can find, if I'm referred somebody through that network of trusted people, then that person that I'm then looking to for advice is more likely going to be actually give me some, because over the years I've chased a lot of, I've kissed a lot of frogs. So I can't categorically slate or name anybody really, because there's so many on so many different smaller points. Some years ago, actually back in 2015, I actually joined a group called TEC, so it's called the Executive Connection, and they do these group that you join a group. I call that group therapy for business owners. And so I have a mentor who's the chair of my TEC group, and so I've been there 3.5 years now. And so that's probably the only official mentor I've ever had. His name's Peter Black, and he's a lovely guy, and he's very much about this whole of life. It's not just business, it's not just personal, it's all one and the same. It's one human being is dealing with all this stuff, so. And I found that to be really great, because being a business owner is really lonely. And that's what drove me to there, because I realized that, and especially if like I was sort of feeling like I was under attack all the time. So it was like, I need some help. I need some help. Exactly. I need to go and find out I'm the only one going through this. And that's been really, really, really helpful.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So if you were to give 3 pieces of advice for the listeners out there to help them with their business, what would those 3 pieces of advice be?
Yeah. The first one is that if you want to have your own business because you want freedom, don't do it. Like even when I had my cafe, and I remember, the first 3 months, and I had the whole kitchen walked out, right? And I remember driving into my driveway at the time, and I was like going, oh my God, I'm never having a baby. Because I have had a child since, but I'm never even having a baby, because I've never been so trapped in my life. This is awful. I thought having my own business was going to be freedom. Well, it isn't, there are some good things about it. But so I just think that is a message I want to hammer home. People who really think if they value freedom, don't do it. The other one is that if you are excellent at your craft, if you're excellent at what you do, you really have to reflect and think, am I really going to be excellent at everything else that I need to do? Because when you start your own business, it is so much more, and you're going to be spending a lot less time doing what you're excellent in. Now, that works for me actually, because to be honest, I do have that sort of mindset. I can't just stick with one thing forever. I will get bored. So therefore it does actually work for me. The freedom bit doesn't work for me because I value freedom and I've got my own business, but hey, so be honest with yourself around all the other skills that are required. And, and I just think a lot of people are hung up with this idea they have to have their own business. And it's like, you can be extraordinarily successful working within somebody else's business if you're just doing what you're really good at. So that's just the third thing. And the second thing. The third thing is read a lot. Read a lot. I'm always reading. I'm always learning. And and I'm terrible actually, because quite often I've got 3 books on the go at once. In fact, I'm not sure I've got enough brain power to actually, I'm not sure I'm retaining enough of it, but still I've just got this incredible thirst for knowledge. I think you need that. I think in life generally, but also definitely if you're in business, and definitely if you're in real estate too. I think that, we can get very tunnel vision. So it's important to really keep expanding our horizons.
Fantastic. I love those 3 points. Love it. Particularly like the one, people have a misconception. Oh, I'm really good at this, but you then never go like, oh, now I need to do this, and this, and the list goes on. So true. So true. So what's coming up for you? What's the next 2 to 3 years look like for you?
Yes. Well, with the podcast, we're bringing on more and more episodes. And I have to say, I'm finding, talk about learning. That has been such a joy for me, I have to say. Like, I have learnt so much from all the guests. And in fact, a lot of real estate agents that listen to the podcast say that to me as well, that we are hearing stuff about our industry, about, other service providers in the industry or other information providers or other professionals in the industry that is giving them insights that they just aren't getting from any other source. So that's amazing feedback. But also I know that myself from my own understanding or my own experience of interviewing these people. I'd actually like to launch some more podcasts, to be quite frank. But anyway, that's sort of, a little bit on the back burner. I'm going to be, I'm working on the final edit of a book at the moment. So I'm bringing out a book. It's called Auction Ready: How to Buy Property at Auction Even Though You're Scared Shitless.
Love it.
So as I said, that's maybe, I don't know when the launch is for that, to be honest. I've got to write another 10,000 words and then we're pretty much done. Good. I'm launching Home Buyer Academy at the end of this year, it's online now, so it's homebuyeracademy.com.au, and we actually have a free mini course for first home buyers, and in fact any property buyer. It's sort of like teaching them how to do an appraisal. So even brand new agents in the industry might find it valuable, rather than relying on those automated valuations that get pumped out by banks and RP Data or CoreLogic and all the rest of it. So very excited about Home Buyer Academy. And then Good Deeds, we are I'm building and expanding on the services that we offer. We're moving more into property advisory. And in particular, we're helping people with their portfolio reviews and to really understand the caliber of asset that they have. And I don't think anyone is doing this. They talk about capital growth, they're talking about, yields, they're talking about, predicting what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is, well, let's look at the caliber of the assets you've got. And if you don't have good caliber asset, then you have a conversation around why you want to keep it. Or if it's great, you have a conversation about why you want to do everything you can to keep it. Yeah. So it's changing the conversation around property. And so that's what we've been very much working on this year. And I expect to get more traction with that as in the next couple of years.
How exciting. Well, there goes some freedom, and look out over the next couple of years. It's all systems go. Love it. So how can the listeners find out more about, your journey? What are you up to, and where can you send them?
Well, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's an easy one. So just Veronica Morgan on LinkedIn. I would highly recommend listeners check out the Elephant in the Room.
Definitely go and check it out.
Yeah, go right back to episode 1 is we go through the behavioural biases that buyers suffer from, shall we say, or are influenced by during an auction. And then the second episode is Damien Cooley, where he basically lifts the lid and just tells Ed everything that he does, all his techniques. So fabulous learning both for buyers and for agents. And also my website, and I've got a blog there with copious amounts of information, which is gooddeeds.com.au.
Wonderful. Veronica, thank you so much for your time, energy and expertise. Really appreciate it. And thank you once again.
My pleasure.